16, 13 through 27. When Jesus came into the district of Caesarea, I can't even say it. Caesarea, gotta say it for me. Caesarea. Philippi, he asked his disciples. If you guys haven't noticed already, there are certain words that I have trouble with. I'm just going to confess it right now. You've already figured it out. Both of these words I will practice. You know, that I know I have trouble with. I practice, but even then it don't work out. I didn't hear. Anyway. Who do people say that the Son of Man is? And they said, some say John the Baptist, but others Elijah, and still others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. He said to them, but who do you say that I am? Simon Peter answered, you are the Messiah, the Son of the living God. And Jesus answered him, blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father in heaven. I tell you, you are Peter, on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not prevail against it. And I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Then he sternly ordered the disciples not to tell anyone that he was the Messiah. From that time on, Jesus began to show his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and undergo great suffering at the hands of the elders and chief priests and scribes to be killed. The third day he would be raised. Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him, saying, God forbid it, Lord, this must never happen to you. He turned and said to Peter, get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to me, for you setting your mind not on divine things, but on human things. Then Jesus told his disciples, if anyone wants to become my followers, let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. Deny himself. Deny himself. For those who will save their life will lose it, and those who lose their life for my sake will find it. For what will it profit them if they gain the whole world but forfeit their life? Or what will they give in return for their life? The Son of Man is to come with his angels in the glory of his Father, and then he will repay everyone for what he has done, according to you, what he has done. The lure of the easy way. We'll put that in the sign of our times. I don't know what it is. I like the story of a young man eager to make it in the top in the world, and he went to a well-known millionaire businessman, and he asked him what is the first reason for his success. The businessman answered without hesitation, hard work. After a lengthy pause, the young man asked, well, what's the second reason? That's where we are, isn't it? Jesus and the disciples were at Caesarea Philippi. Their ministry to this point had been a huge success. Crowds pressed on him everywhere they went. People eagerly reached out to touch this attractive young teacher from Nazareth. The disciples themselves were caught up in the excitement of all. Just think about it. These are old country boys, and they come to town, and here these people are just crowding around, huge crowds. Just the popularity is, I'm sure, had to be intoxicating for them. Jesus asked him, well, who do you say that I am? And just prior to that, I read you, he'd asked, what do people say that I am? Now he said, but that doesn't matter. What do you think? And Simon Peter answered, you're the Christ, the Son of the living God. Folks, it was one of the most dramatic moments in the disciples' walk with Jesus. This was a declaration of who he was. Then Jesus abruptly changed the subject. He began to tell them that the crowd would soon turn against him. He would be crucified on the third day, he would be raised. The disciples didn't know what to make of it all. He told them time and again, and yet somehow he just didn't say it. Simon Peter took him aside and said, forget it, Lord, that these things would happen to you. Jesus' response to Simon Peter is as harsh as any words in the New Testament. Really? Get behind me, Satan, he said. You are not on the side of God, but of man. This is Peter. Perhaps Jesus called Peter Simon, Satan, because Jesus experienced in the wilderness immediately after his baptism by John. You remember the story. There, Satan revealed to Jesus a way to make $1 million in 3 easy steps. Turn stones to bread, leap off the pinnacle of the temple, bow down and worship him, and he had it all. Now, folks, I see Satan not as a red cape figure with a pitchfork in his hand, but dressed in a $400 suit and offering instant success, instant glamour, instant gratification. all around us. We can see Satan almost anywhere today, as we always have been able to. Jesus, however, encountered him this time, and of all people, Simon Peter. Forbid it, Lord, that you should have to suffer and die. Jesus resisting the lure of the easy way. Listen to the words he says. I mean, he's telling that that's not to us. He's saying to them, he's saying to us. If any man would be my disciple, let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. It's tough today. We don't want to deny ourselves anything. Even to go to the bars on Saturday night. I mean, that's all right, isn't it? Many of us today are making the mistake of following the easy way. We see it in our family life. Homes are disintegrating because a father or mother decides one day, well, they just had enough and they walk out. I think that's unusual, and you don't know. We see it in our work. It's nice to see that work ethic has regained some respectability. Many of us, however, can remember when young people dreaded to take their place in the business world. They really did. In fact, that attitude was reflected in a Doonesbury cartoon a few years back that had Zonger Harris noticing a despondent young student coming out of the library. Zonger asked, "What's the problem?" The student replied, "Well, it's nothing anybody can do anything about. It's just that tomorrow I'm graduating, and on Monday I'm assuming a position as the junior vice president of the Chase Manhattan Bank of New York." Zonger is immediately shocked and sad, and he says, "Hey man, I'm sorry, I just didn't know." These were the 70s. All that's changed. Today, many people would sell their souls to be a junior vice president of Chase Manhattan Bank. And according to recent news reports, many of them already have. The National Magazine asks on its cover, "Whatever happened to ethics?" We also see the desire to follow the easy way in the church. One fellow said to another, "Say, I heard that you bought a new car. How did you ever afford it?" The fellow replied, "Well, I just canceled my church pledge." First one said, "Well, gee, I wish I could get a new car with that little." We are devotees of the easy way, even though everyone in this room knows two important truths. The first is that the path to personal success is that of self-denial. There's no getting around it. Zig Ziglar tells a visiting Washington Monument, and as he and his party approached the monument, he heard a guide announcing loudly that there would be a 2-hour wait to ride the elevator to the top of the monument. However, with a smile on his face, the guide then said, "But there's no waiting to go to the top if you're willing to take the stairs." Successful people know that there is no limit to what a healthy, reasonably intelligent person in this society today can accomplish if he or she will take the stairs. The opportunity is there for anyone willing to pay the price. But that is not always the case. During the Los Angeles Open Golf Tournament, a few years back, I mean, it's been several years back, Arnold Palmer, the legendary golfer, was interviewed while practicing on a putting green. Arnie, he was asked, "What do you feel was wrong to make you play so poorly this past season?" Well, that was kind of insulting almost. Without looking up from his putting, Arnold answered, "I wasn't hard enough on myself, that's all." 2 hours after this brief interview, the same reporter came back to find Arnold Palmer still practicing on that same putting green. The reporter concluded that the greatness of Arnold Palmer is his choice of the hard way. Success in life requires a willingness to resist the lure of the easy way. A sound body requires that we exercise, eat the right foods, conquer bad habits. A sound mind requires that we read, that we observe, that we continually learn. A sound marriage requires that each partner goes into it with an understanding that marriage is not a 50-50 deal. I don't care what anybody says. It's 100% for both parties. Sound family means that we will take time to be sensitive to the needs of our children. We provide not only for their physical needs, but their emotional and spiritual needs as well. Such goals, folks, require sacrifice. require perseverance, require determination. Every one of us knows that the path to personal success is the path of self-denial. We also know that self-denial is essential to the salvation of the world. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but our world today faces some tremendous challenges. I mean, I'm talking about our world, not just our nation. Tremendous challenges. I don't know how it's going to come out. Some cynics have said that when the going gets tough, everyone leaves. That happened to Jesus. As the way got harder, the number of those who were following dwindled until finally he died alone on Calvary. Yet if he hadn't been willing if he'd been unwilling to lay down his life, the world would never have known the love of the Father. If those early disciples had not picked up Jesus' cross and followed after him, we would still not know the love of the Father. And if you and I don't pick up the cross in our time and make those hard choices and assume those difficult responsibilities, our children's children will not know the old story of Jesus and the cross and God's love. So do it. You may have heard the powerful story of Glenn Cunningham. Those of you who are sports addicts may have heard this. The young man whose legs were so badly burned as a boy that the doctor said he would never walk again. However, this determined champion went on to win an Olympic gold medal in the mile. Even more important, Glenn Cunningham devoted his life to helping troubled young people. Once his wife asked, "Glenn, why do we have to give so much more than others? No one else is doing what we are." But he answered, "That's the reason, Ruth. No one else is doing it." Richard Leakey, the famous archaeologist who worked in northern Kenya, discussed in his book, People of the Lake, what it is that separates man from the great apes. What separates man from the great apes? Think about that. What is it? It's not man's intelligence, says Leakey. It's generosity. Only human beings have the ability to share. Only human beings are capable of genuine compassion. Only human beings are capable of laying down their lives for a friend. What it boils down to, folks, not particularly about the church. If we don't care what happens to this world, who will? You think somebody, right quick? If we don't feed the hungry, who will? If we don't shelter the homeless, who will? If we don't tell the world about Christ, who will? General William Booth, founder of the Salvation Army, a friend of the down and out, if there was one. 3 months before his death, this is what he wrote. Listen. He said, "While women weep as they do now, I'll fight. While little children go hungry as they do now, I'll fight. While men go to prison in and out as they do now, I'll fight. While there's a drunkard left, while there's a poor lost girl on the streets, while there remains one dark soul without the light of God, I'll fight to the very end." Any man or woman will be my disciple, Jesus says, and deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. That's the word we desperately hear today, folks. We really need to hear that. It's a cause M. Scott Peck would praise it as a road less traveled. Or, in Zig Ziglar's analogy, it's the lonely stairs as opposed to the crowded elevator. Or as Jesus himself once said, it's a narrow way that only a committed few will pursue. Only a few. One story. Story told of a worker in an inner city mission, given many years to just a discouraging ministry, to say the least. A friend came to him one day and said, "Why don't you leave this job before you're broken by its inhuman burden? Why don't you just run away from it all?" And I replied, "Well, honestly, there are times I would very much like to leave it all. But there's a strange, loving man on the cross who won't let me." Jesus said, "If anyone would be my disciple, let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. That's our call, folks. No denying. Let's pray. Father, you call every one of us to do something. Every one of us are capable of ministry in some fashion, in some way of reaching out to people who need us. We just pray that you'll help us to be aware of it and then have the courage to simply do it. In the name of Jesus.